Hey, how's everybody doing? Welcome to the worst reviews ever. Got Wally in the building. Welcome back, Wally. Got
What's going
Amazing in
on?
here with the crazy colors. We got Casey Fred up in here. I like that sweater, Fred. Where'd you get that at? You want to shout them
Yeah,
out?
man. Yeah, it's called the Boss, baby. So as you can see right there, they got small chains. I think it's called La Vida. That's over there in Independence. Shout out to them. They be holding it down, man. They got all kinds of fresh gear over there. So yeah, I'm trying to branch out, try to hit some of these merchants and stuff. You never know, we might get the hook up. So
Okay. And I see my man Wally got the Notorious Big shirt on. The classic album right there. That's what I'm talking about. Wally got taste, man.
Uh, but
But all right, we'll go ahead. Let me pull up these slides. I'll go ahead and read them out before we jump into the ratings. So the movie we're gonna review today is Beverly Hills Cop, Axel Foley. So this is a series of movies. He I guess restarted the series or something like that. But definitely well, we'll get into the rating later. But let me go ahead and read this. Beverly Hills Cop, Axel Foley is a 2024 American action comedy film directed by Mark Molly and written by Will Bill, Tom Gorkin, and Kevin Eaton for a story by Bill. Axel Foley has returned to Beverly Hills after his daughter Jane and his old partner Billy Rosewell lives are threatened. She and Axel team up with her ex-boyfriend Bobby Abbott and his old pal John Taggart and Serge to uncover a conspiracy. My man Serge.
yeah.
So directors and producers, directed by Mark Malloy, written by Will Bill, Tom Gormican, and Kevin Eaton. Produced by Jerry Bruckheimer, Eddie Murphy, and Chad Oman. That's pretty cool to see Eddie Murphy produce it. So it looked like he got in there. All right, and we'll go to the cast slide. So the cast, of course, Eddie Murphy is Axel Foley, Josh Gordon-Levitt, Taylor Page as Jane Saunders, Jude Reinhold as Billy Rosewood, John Ashton as Chief John Taggart, Paul Reiser as Jeffrey Friedman, Bronson Pinchot as Serge, and Kevin Bacon as Captain. Give me 1 second. As Captain Cade. So, all right, we about to jump into the rating scale. So since Wally's coming back, I'm gonna go to him first. So,
throw it at
Wally,
me.
what was your rating for the movie?
Oh Lord. See, he would throw me in right there first just to set me up. Okay. You know what? Look, I like the movie. I'm gonna give it an 8.
Okay. So Wally gave it a very good, between very good and excellent. So you said an 8 though?
Yeah, but right now 8. Yeah.
Okay. All right, amazing. What would you rate this movie?
I'll go with the 6.5.
You said a 6.5. Okay, so Amazing's in a good territory.
I swear you love to hate on people.
All right, 6.5 for Amazing. And Casey Fred, what's your rating?
Oh man. So I didn't put it in classic territory, but I did very much enjoy the movie. And if you saw the first 3, you would understand they just float right into it as if you had never left. And even though it'd been like 30, almost 40 years. So I gave it an 8.5.
Okay, so Frederick got it in excellent territory. And for me, I gave it a 7.5, very good. So Amazing. Why did you give it such a shitty score? Why are you a terrible person, Amazing?
I thought you were about to try to hate on the whole movie.
So go ahead, explain your rating, and then we'll go to Casey Fred, and then
First of all,
since me and Wally's kind of realistic with our scoring metrics, we'll go after y'all.
Oh no, hey, I might pull it up to 8.5 though. Give it time.
Okay, damn.
So
All right, Amazing.
Because there was one big. Oh, go ahead, Miss.
I was gonna say I thought the same thing. I started off because I definitely liked it, so I figured 6.5, and then I assumed Casey, Fred, and Wally would make some good points, and I might bump it up to a 7. So we'll see how that
Oh,
goes.
you see how this is?
Mhm.
Oh yeah, let's be the saving grace. Oh well, guess what? You're gonna be
No, I thought
save me today.
that was a prop for you and Brett because I thought you guys would make things, and I'm like, oh yeah, that'll be good. I thought SJ was gonna hate on the whole movie.
Oh wow, okay.
Oh, God.
Okay.
6.5 I still rated as good. I did like Fred's point regarding it, like kind of picked up. I could not remember completely like the other ones, honestly, but I also like that even if you didn't see the other ones, it gave you enough information where it could be like a whole separate brand new movie.
Yeah.
So, and I love that there was so many original characters. So, and I also, just the whole storyline and plot, like I liked all of it. So that's why I went with good for now. Close.
All right.
Very good.
So Casey, Fred, why'd you give it your rating?
I just, like I said, I've had this nostalgic view on everything because it really just took you back. And you got a chance. First of all, I want to say, I don't know what Eddie Murphy is doing, but man, that brother is really taking care of himself for him to be the age that he is. And I was like, bro, it literally looked like it had only been a few years, kind of like the way they did the Bad Boys situation. And so I was blown away how good he looked, and he was still able to do things. And now there's some funny parts that crack me up because if you notice, back in the day, that brother was running everywhere, but he wasn't running this nowhere. He was on a bike, he was in a truck. If he was gonna go after bad people, it wasn't because it was on foot. He didn't do that. That must have been in his contract. But I literally enjoyed it. It was action all the way. Like we were saying, a lot of the original characters that made the movie was still in it. They were still alive and they were really dear. And it was just really cool. Like you got a chance to really see everybody grown and really still be a part of it, but yet still have that chemistry of what made Beverly Hills Cop one of the best back in the 80s, man. I'm trying to tell you, it was just like, that's what set Eddie Murphy on the scene to be able to do what he do. And like I said, I was just extremely happy. Plus, like I said, it had action, but at the same time had the little drama. I love the father and daughter role with him and Jan and stuff like that. And that even brought some comedy and stuff like that. So like I said, I totally enjoyed it. I mean, from the beginning all the way to the end. And it just made you feel like, hey, you know what, Eddie, if you want to do another one, we'll go out and see that one too. Like you could have saw that at the movie theater as well as on Netflix. So just really enjoyed it all the way.
All right, let me get CLS in there because I know he's got to cut out. I think you're on mute right now. So what's your rating for this movie? What would you rate it?
I give it a 9. 9.
Yeah.
Damn.
9. I was gonna give it a 10, but it was some factors that made me decide not to give it a 10. Some things that I dislike.
Okay, so damn. Okay, you up there. So why would you rate this 9? To break that down a little bit. Why are you delusional?
Because it kept my attention, and you gotta remember, like I'm a huge fan of the original 3 movies. The first 3 movies.
Yes.
A lot of people shit on Beverly Hills Cop 3. They say that's like that's their least favorite one because they talk about how great 1 and 2 is. Right. I agree with them, but I like part 3 too because I guess the setting was a little different. The setting was in an amusement park.
Right.
You know, it was a little different from the first 2 films, but that's what I like. I mean, and plus the actors were good too. I like that. I like the chemistry between him and what's her name? Teresa Randall. Teresa Randall was the girl that was in the amusement park in part 3.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And really, they could have put her in this movie. She could have played Jane's mother because they never said who her mom was. And I think she would be the perfect fit to play her mom in this movie if they bring her back for 5. Because they are going to do a part 5.
Right.
Okay. Shit. Nah. Okay. All right. Wally, why'd you give it your rating?
Pretty much the same sentiments as CLS and Casey Fred. I mean, this was really an excellent good movie. Like start to finish, like the start of it was just beautiful. I love it. I love how he just captured the vibes and everything else, and how everything was panning out, and just how he just went into the room, just joking around, just playing around, only to catch the guy slipping like a fool, and just throughout the whole movie, like how it was just flowing, how the connection between him and his daughter, how they were trying to solve that out, and everything that alone between them two was the biggest part of why I had this movie high. It was the biggest part because that was like life lessons right there. Okay. Especially when you think about looking at a parent and then everything that they have to do, and then it's like, oh well, then you have to look at your child, and it's like, how do you mesh work and then raising the kid? Those things right there, all that was like a perfect blend to the whole movie overall.
Yeah.
Damn, yeah. So y'all really like this movie, man. Like the reason I gave it a 7.5, I definitely like the vibes of the movie. I like the actors. Like Fred said, they had the chemistry with everybody. I like how everybody just hates him. He just be destroying stuff in the city. So I like how they kind of started out, where he's damn near crushing the whole city and stuff. So it kind of went along with like how he typically just messes things up, even though, he'll solve the case. He probably does like millions of dollars worth of damage and stuff. So yeah, so I did like it. I might have to bump this up now that I'm speaking of it.
But,
go ahead.
You didn't like the addition to the new actors that they added in the movie, the new characters, like Luis Guzman, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and you had who was the other
Kevin
person?
Bacon.
Kevin Bacon. And Kevin Bacon.
Nah, so yeah, I definitely like Kevin Bacon. I think they should have, definitely gave him more burn as the villain. But I don't know if I like the daughter element too much. But I did like everything else. Yeah, I think they kind of prolonged her stuff a little bit too long.
No, but you know what?
Yeah.
It's a good thing that they did though, because it's actually an irony moment with her in that movie.
Right.
It's so because if you think about it, it's like you hate your father for the work he does, but everything that he does, look what you're doing right there. You're being a cop. He's being a cop. You're being a lawyer. Okay, look how that all perfectly matches up.
Yeah,
that's a good point. No, I didn't even think about
the
that.
Handcuffs. That was one big one right there. The handcuffs.
Yeah. And then her ex-boyfriend is a cop too, and that was part of the reason. And that was part of the reason why she ended the relationship.
Yeah.
Okay, so since we got Manic here, let me get his rating. So Manic, what's your rating for the movie?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
This was actually a really good one. I'm gonna give this. I'm gonna go with the 8.6.
Yeah.
8.6. So excellent.
Yeah.
All
right. So why'd you rate it at 8.6?
I mean, the movie was solid all the way through. I felt like it was going to start off slow, just from the opening scene, but it went straight into it. And there's definitely a bit of nostalgia that they brought, but they didn't get overly cheesy with it. It followed the storyline. They figured out ways to show you hints of Beverly Hills Cop 1 through 3 without making it look so cheesy. Like
facts.
Like when they're looking things like, have you read your file? And then they open the file. It was just literally snapshots of the old Beverly Hills. And I thought that was like a clever way to do it. Like, I feel like every movie that has like a series like this, and then there's that long break, and then there's the new one where everybody's old. They always force so much. And this one wasn't forced at all. Like the storyline was like all the way through. I felt like the characters, some of them were a little bit more dynamic than others, but they did an excellent job of keeping the original cast, still the same, but they've, matured and aged. And shout out to Eddie Murphy, man. He looks young compared to everybody else. I was just impressed. I was just like, hey, yo.
Yeah, he definitely he got a healthy regimen, whatever he's doing. Because man, my man did look young. Shit.
Yeah. I could definitely confuse him for a dude in his like early 40s.
Definitely.
But all right, let me go to the next slide. So, would you recommend this movie to anyone, and would you ever watch this movie again? And I'll start with Amazing on that one. We'll work our way down.
Yes and yes.
All right, Manic Genius.
I'm going to go with the yes and a yes.
All right, Wally.
Yes and yes.
Casey, Fred.
Yes and yes. And honestly, I would love to be able to watch all four of them back to back. So definitely yes on that.
Yeah, I might have to go back and watch them. So yes and yes for me also. All right. So what did you think about the plot of the storyline? Casey, Fred, coming to you first.
Oh, I enjoyed it. I mean, like I said, the action right off the scene, and at this time, you know that Axel Foley is like he's a veteran, he's a superstar, he's been in the game for so long, and yet at the same time, as good as he is, he sucks as a father. So I was just like. It kind of, if you compared it, it'd be like Shaq. He's a dunking machine, but can't make free throws. You know what I'm saying? So it was really cool to be able to see. Okay, so how do I get better at this area? And so while I'm doing my thing, and so he's a straight detective. He knows how to figure things out. But then when they put the daughter in there, he had to be able to, hey, I got to fly out here and see about my kid, my namesake. And then, of course, he finds out that she ain't carrying even his name. And I thought that was hilarious too. And so he was like, okay, wait a minute. I gotta get back to being both, a good detective and a good father. And he manages to do both at the end, or at least work on it for that matter. And I thought that was really cool. So I mean, I love the twists and turns, but the action, it just keeps you. And then, like I said, to be able to have majority of the original cast in there to make it flow and keep that chemistry, it was totally excellent. Just I enjoyed it all the way, and I liked the way it wasn't overbearing with the as they say, after school special, stories that everybody tries to give because you want to learn something from it. But at the end of the day, you don't want it to make it like an ABC special. And so they didn't do that, get carried away with it. But there was a lot of stuff that a lot of people could learn from every aspect, whether it's from a father's perspective or a daughter's perspective or second chances or doing better on your job or seeing between what's real and what's not, letting go, forgiveness. And there was so many things that you could get from this movie while it was action and keeping your attention. And like I said, I enjoyed it, and I can't wait. Actually, I can't wait for the next one. So this is one of those where the series can't continue. Some series you don't want them to go longer than what they have, and you feel like, man, can we wrap this up? But I didn't feel like this was one of them. And so I really enjoyed it. And like I said, I would definitely watch it again.
All right. Wally, what did you think about the plot of the storyline?
Again, just pure excellence. I mean, pretty much Fred said most of it, right? I think, yeah, but most of it, like just like the storyline and the plot was just perfectly seen. How they started off, being at a hockey game only to really know that there was a smuggle attempt being, engaged. And, he goes out of a blaze trying to do, his job and chasing down and, throwing up a ruckus all through the neighborhood and the streets just to catch these guys and these thugs. And, when they finally when the head leader gets caught, he's like, bro, what's your problem? Bro, what's your problem? Like he ain't doing his job. Like, yeah, his job is to catch your behind and set you up. I'm like, that was hilarious. But then, only for him to go back to the office, saying, job well done. The boss look at him like, are you crazy? Have you lost your mind? What the hell are you doing out there? And, and a part of him was like, man, I'm thinking about quitting. And I'm like, what? What you mean? What you mean you think about quitting? And it was like, I gotta go spend time with the kids. And it's like, in that whole scenario, and it just clicked. And it's like, to him telling him, hey, go back, to LA, you gotta go back to LA and whatever reasons, such etc. And right before him going, he had to tell him, like, sometimes there's better things than this job. And, sometimes you feel like you're not gonna miss out on nothing you are. And, that's that moment, that one click is like, okay, keep going. Next thing you know, you go to LA, you're trying to have this bonding connection with your daughter. because it's pretty obvious that y'all relationship is very skewed and very heartening, because it's like there wasn't really no connection in between the two. But you know, as you see things flow, it's like he's always trying, but it's like there's never nothing given in transaction. And it's like as he keeps on going, he's constantly learning from other people about life, and then you know, things like that, and hearing other people's perspectives on certain things, which then affect how he's constantly having his relationship with his daughter every which way until the final end. And you know, it makes you realize you can keep butting heads all day, but it's like at the end of the day, both of you still trying, right? So it's like, why not just try and figure it out? Because at the end of the day, if no one didn't care, you'd just be done with each other altogether. So, you know, that right there for me is like plot, storyline altogether. It was just pretty solid.
All right. Man of Genius, what did you think about the plot of the storyline?
I mean, honestly, Casey Fred hit on a lot of the points. Definitely second everything that he said, and Wally's well. I felt the plot was solid. I mean, it really wasn't any different from your typical like undercover or corrupt cop at the top type situation scenario. But I like how they didn't try to like do too much with that. They just kept that as the baseline, and you know, they worked around it and threw in a little bit of nostalgia, but kept it very tasteful. And it wasn't focused on like, oh, let's just take you down memory lane. Like, no, they had little Easter eggs and different shots and whatnot, but the storyline went along with the plot very well. And I didn't feel like there was any wasted scenes or any overly exaggerated, you know, scenarios to just make a point. So I think whoever directed this did an excellent job in not keeping it corny and cheesy, but showing the dynamic in the relationship, and then showing how it evolved over time, you know, with the different situations that it was in. Because his daughter, even before she took the bullet, like his daughter was in a completely different space with him, because after they had been in different incidents, it's like you saw that comfortability and growth, like slowly. Like she was very mad the first time, like I'm not even answering his calls, and like to like, okay, he's got something that I want. I'm working on this case. This is a big case for me, and Uncle Billy put me on this. So it really, because of the work, it allowed them to work together and start to build a bond. And, you know, they still butted heads, and then it showed like glimpses of their similarities, and, you know, rightfully so, if that's his daughter. And they just had other elements that it was just tied into this movie. The whole relationship that she had with Detective Abbott, aka Bobby, that was a nice touch too, to where it wasn't like overly played, but it wasn't like it was just there. Like you don't know the full dynamic, you just know that it was a relationship that, you know, lasted probably for a few months, but you know, it was something. So I think they added so many different elements in this, and I felt like the storyline was just really on point with the plot. So solid all the way through, plot and storyline.
All right. Amazing. What did you think about the plot or the storyline?
I agree with everybody else. I liked both. My favorite pieces actually were the just the different relationships, because I know, like Manic just mentioned, there were so many different relationships going on, but I didn't think it was too much on any of them or too heavy where it just seemed all over the place. So I thought they did a great job on both. I thought they just meshed very well together.
Yeah, for me, I definitely liked the plot and the storyline. I like how they were able, because, you know, at first I was like, man, okay, they done had already like 3 movies. How they going to make the connection to Detroit and Beverly Hills again? So I like how his daughter had the connection with like Billy and stuff like that, him kind of mentoring. So that's how that kind of played out. So I like how they were able to make that connection and stuff. So yeah, because typically, you know, when they're going on a 4th one, it's just like, all right, this is going to be a stretch. But like I said, the storyline kind of flowed all the way through and connected to the other movies, which was pretty clever by the friendships that were developed in the past. Because even Taggart, you know, he was kind of like the chief now. So he had to operate different, but, you know, he had to change his stance toward the end and stuff. So I like how they show how, you know, friendships could, you know, break because people have to take on different roles and responsibilities. So I like how they kind of showed all that. And I do like the one guy, Joshua Gordon-Levitt, how they added him in.
Yeah.
I like that whole new dynamic. Because, yeah, my man was kind of nice with them guns. Even though you thought he was going to be nerdy and stuff, he was, he kind of came up big on a couple of the scenes. So, all right, we'll go ahead and jump into what scenes or performances stuck out. I'm going to go to Wally first on this. Wally.
So the scenes and or actor and actresses, like pretty much Eddie Murphy and the one that played his daughter, they were good. And Buddy, that was actually in one of the Batman movies, one of the cops, he's also good too. I liked his role in there. But as far as the performance and the sceneries, but for the scenes, like I said, mostly anything with Eddie Murphy and the actress that played his daughter. Those were the real priorities for me, like looking at this movie, because those were like real hitters, like towards life. Like when you look at life and you think about it, like that was an experience. Like if you had to look at therapy being shown to you at that point, that was like a therapeutic class moment of two people like trying to build a relationship, but they can't because they're only thinking about themselves, but they're not really seeing the other side. And one of the biggest things is like, one of the biggest hitters that Eddie Murphy said was, as much as you were my daughter, as much as I was your father. And at first, I had to think in my head, like, why did he say it like that? And then it clicked to me because it's like, the moment you came in, this is a whole different dynamic. I'm starting from ground zero, right? It's like you think the same thing, like, we all individuals at the start, right? But when we integrate ourselves with other people, it's always the ground zero start, and we're always building to understand each other, learn each other, who we are, and everything like that. So when he said it like that, I'm like, okay, yeah, I understand what he's saying, because that's why he had. And you can tell when he say it like that, he actually means it, because how he was thinking about it. Because it's like he tried to do things with you. It's like he tried to do things that he was comfortable doing that you may not like, but it was because he was just trying to throw things. He was trying to throw things at the wall to see what stick and what y'all can build off of, because he was really like in that phase of just, he was like really nervous, or he was just trying to, because he wasn't really getting no feel of a connection from her. It wasn't really easy, and it didn't seem like she made a very comfortable space where they actually could really bond. So it was really hard, and you can tell even when he told her, like, you constantly keep pushing away, but it's like she's telling you don't try, but it's like, oh, come on now, don't do that, because it's like, come on. If someone's trying to have a connection, someone's trying to build something, even if it's not something you're into or anything, at least someone's trying to do something, like build you something, teach you something, even if it's something you may think to yourself, why would I need this? And come to find out, you end up realizing you needed it. So, that scene, just those scenes alone, like that was the bigger hitter for me, because throughout the whole thing, just telling, that's just an important lesson. Like anybody can look at and be like, understand when y'all having these relationships with your kids, is like always be able to understand who they are, because once upon a time we all were kids. We all know what it looks like when our parents didn't maybe have time for us and everything else, and how that make us feel and whatnot. So it's like, as we get older, yeah, we can understand they may feel some type of way, but at the same time, those kids eventually got to realize, hey, I might be away, but that doesn't mean I never cared about you. It's just like they're just certain things I have to do because I'm the grown up here and I got to take care of you. So it's like, usually, this is why parents will usually tell kids, like, hey, you will understand when you become my age, you have the same responsibilities I have. And usually that's when they have to realize they're right, because when they see it and they realize and they go through it, they do realize they were telling the truth. So, yeah.
Oh, my bad. I had my thing on mute. I was about to say, hey, I was never a kid before Wally. I was born 25 with bad credit.
Sure.
Now, let me go to Manic on this one. What scenes or performances stuck out?
Definitely Eddie Murphy's scene or performance stuck out the most to me, in my opinion, because he was the focal point of this entire movie, and he did not disappoint. He had a level of youth to him that it was confusing at first. I was like, is he going to keep this up the whole? But it was a mature youthfulness. Like, it wasn't corny and cheesy. He wasn't trying to be old Axel Foley in his 20s. He was seasoned Axel Foley. Like, he knew everything, this and that. Like, he was always witty before, but he did an excellent job, and I was just very impressed by his ability. Because I just looking at his age, I was expecting to get like a watered down version of this, and yeah, kind of like the latest Bad Boys movie. It's just like old people. Yeah, old people trying to pretend like they're doing action films. Like, nah, this was actually really good. One of the first scenes that stuck out to me though was the in the beginning, the scene where they're in the stadium and he's like, "Oh, let's go get the robbery from the ice hockey," and it shows him like jumping over the to get out of the stands, jumping over the auditorium. And it shows him like going over the thing, and then the scene cuts and then shows him like landing. And just the way he lands, you can tell it was a stunt double that did that jump. It's just like, oh, okay. I thought I was going to see more of that, but nah, they did an excellent job for the rest of the movie. That was like the only part where I was like, oh, that's clearly a stunt double right there, just making that little jump. And it was such a little jump, but it's just like, he's in his. How old is Eddie Murphy?
63.
63. Yeah.
63.
63. And he was moving like that.
Easy.
He did make it look easy. And honestly, the only reference that you could get of his actual age was, his partners. When you seen him stand next to anybody, Billy was like, oh my God, what happened to him? Like
John Taggart looked really old.
But at least he looked like he aged like gracefully. It's just like he just naturally got. Billy looked like he got some Botox and then like tried like Hollywood. I don't know, but it just it was just crazy. So but not all of their performances. I felt like all the actors and actresses were very strong. Another scene that I'll point out was at the end when they're raiding the house and like the final showdown. And the one girl who's like directing some stuff, you see like a glimpse of her, and then she's just like, she comes out with the guns and she's shooting just like everybody else. I was like, oh God, here we go with this. I was like, are they going to go the equality feminist route, or are they going to like be on some other BS? But they shot her, so I was just like,
technically they did, right? Yeah, so they did. She got just like the rest of them.
Yeah. So I was just like, oh, thank God. I thought they were going to be on some other type of time. It was like, oh yeah, she gets spared, she gets like clipped or something, she gets hit somehow after she's got this gun shooting and trying to kill people. But yeah, they did justice there. So yeah, I guess that brought joy to me awkwardly.
All right, amazing. Oh, you got any more scenes?
No, that's it. I mean, just the ending too. The very last scene where he sneaks out and he gets in the back seat of the car. Just that shot is just like straight nostalgia. And it wasn't like cheesily added in there.
Oh no, you know what was though? Remember that part when he was at the diner and the daughter came through and then they walked out of there and you can see like he still had the robot. I was like, what the fuck?
He still had what?
He had the robot. You didn't know the robot?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. The hospital gown. He had the hospital gown on.
Oh yeah.
That on. I was like, wait, what? This guy.
No, I didn't see that.
Oh my God, this guy was hard. Oh, that was so funny.
But all right, amazing. What scenes or performances stuck out to you?
My favorite scenes, like I mentioned earlier, were just like the relationship scenes. So I really, I enjoyed all of Eddie Murphy's scenes with the actress that played his daughter. And then I really, really just liked the way that Billy kind of was always the watcher for her and the mentor. But of course, his dad or her dad's best friend. So one of the scenes that stuck out just because the way like they bickered and how Wally mentioned several like life lessons in the beginning that was kind of throughout the movie is when she was like, you're the parent. Like no matter how old I am, you are still the parent. And I think sometimes people maybe forget that, but I thought that was a special scene. So I like this one.
All right. Casey, Fred, what scenes and performances stuck out to you? Did I already go to you?
No.
Okay.
I thought you was gonna go next. To be honest with you.
No. I'll go last, man.
Actually, a lot of it. I like the music because they were playing. If you guys will eventually look at the first two, the first, second, and the third movie, you realize some of the exact same music from back in the 80s when they were first came out was some of the same songs that they were playing in this one. And I thought that was really cool to try to get you back into the movie. Um, Eddie Murphy's facial expressions reminded me of so many different movies. I saw Norbit in there. I saw Shrek in there. I saw the Clumps in there. I mean, it was just like his facial expressions. Sometimes it just kept reminding you of other movies, and he was the main character, and he just grabbed a hold to you. And then he took the time with each character to make sure that they were a part of it. Like he never let anybody be left out. Like the time where he gets to know, I think it was Detective Bobby or whatever, who was supposed to be, the daughter's ex-boyfriend and stuff. And he looked at both of them. He was like, "You guys are having intercourse, aren't you?" And he was like, "Oh no, we're not doing that. Oh, we're not doing that." And I thought that was so hilarious. His detective ways were coming out and stuff like that. And so one of the big things I will have to agree with Wally is that if you don't learn anything else about this movie, you learn, and his daughter helped him see this, and that was, you never quit on your job. You're Axel Foley. You always get your man. You always finish on top. I need you to be that same kind of father as well to me. And I felt like that was the whole thing, because he had many times, many moments where he could have left and just left the case. Hey, yo, we're not bagging you up. We're trying to tell you right now, you stay out here, you and your family's going to die. But he all of a sudden stayed the course in that whole situation. And I really loved it all the way to the end. There was another scene in there where I think Billy Rosewood, he in the old movies, he would, at the very end, he would hold up his little badge and say, "This is the police, put your hands up." And they had to do that again in this movie. And I don't know why. It cracked me up back in the day. It cracked me up again in this movie or whatever. Like, he's the man when we all know he's the least cop that should be out there doing that. And that just, I don't know, that just had me just rolling. And then, of course, what was it? Taggart, he always let his stubbornness get in his way. But then his friendship was the one thing that kept him on course between the three of them and got him back in line. And he showed up and was able to help as far as get the job done with Axel and Billy. So there was a lot of good things. I love Kevin Bacon and almost everything, all the way back from when he was in Footloose. So it was cool to see him in a different aspect, especially as a villain. And so, because a lot of times in most movies, he's always a good guy. And so in this, he got a chance to be the villain and stuff. And just the way he carried himself and act like he was real competition. But, Axel let him know, be like, "You must not know who I am." You know what I'm saying? I know there's a rat, and I know it's you. So if it's going to be between the two of us, I guess you're going to have to go down. You know what I'm saying? And so I thought that was really cool. Serge, of course, he was in the old movies too. So it was just cool to see a lot of people from the past all of a sudden pop up, grow up, and be there. I just thought it was so awesome of how Eddie Murphy have to agree with Manny that he's 63 years old and yet he looked like he's still 40. Like, I don't know what his skincare regimen is, but put me on game so I can age gracefully too. I just thought that was wonderful. And then, like I said, I have to also agree with Wally. The end result was he went out there to be able to save not only his daughter in the relationship, but also to save the case. And he ended up winning it all. And I thought, hey, going the extra mile, that's what winners do. Winners do what losers won't do. And so he did that. And like I said, I thought with all the action in between, I loved it to death. and I would definitely watch it again and would recommend it. And like I said, I told you guys at the beginning, I can't wait till the next one comes out. It was just that much enjoyable. And everybody always asks me, did you eat nachos? Yes, I had nachos with jalapenos, and it didn't have to worry about no gore, so I was good to go, man.
We're about to change that soon.
Not this week, brother.
But shout out to Casey Fred. He was sounding like Coach Carter and stuff over here.
Hey, that's a good movie too, baby. Samuel Jackson, baby.
But the scenes, performances that stuck out, man, I definitely liked everybody's performance. Definitely, I like Kevin Bacon as the villain. You know, I kind of wish, like I said, he would survive. But if they go in that trend of getting like a legend to play a villain, I definitely want to tune in for the next one. So I think that was a good touch, man. I think that's the first time I've ever seen him and like Eddie Murphy in a movie together. So I like how they had them facing off. One of the scenes I thought there was just hilarious was you know, when them villains was in what's his name, Billy's office, whatever, and they were like searching for stuff, and you know, Eddie Murphy went up in there and acted like he was like part of the group and stuff. So it just kind of showed like how resourceful he was. So I was like, man, how he just improv that, like went in there is like, what are y'all doing? Like, they were like, oh, okay, shit, he's part of the team then. So now I like how they showcase that. And then, like I said, I just like in the beginning how they kind of showed him actually in Detroit, because they really never showed him in Detroit too long. So I like that beginning scene, how, you know, he taught that one guy into like pursuing that guy. That guy thought he was just hanging out with him, but he was like, nah, man, we about to get this case. Like, you about to solve this. That dude was like, I don't know about this, man. We don't crash into all these vehicles and stuff. So I like how that all played out. Like I said, it just showed, it picked up like his natural character and the other ones, how he just kind of like destroys half the city to pursue the case. So yeah, I like how they picked that up. But all right, we'll go ahead and jump into the next question. If you're the director or the producer of this movie, what would you change or do differently? And I'll start with Manic on this one first.
You muted,
You're on mute.
Oh, thank y'all for that. I thought this movie was solid all the way through, and bear with me with this one, this quick change. I mean, I would have killed Billy when he got discovered at the docks, but so I would have had Billy die.
Damn.
And then I would have had, instead of at the very end, I would have had his daughter get shot instead of him. I would have had his daughter like jump in front of the bullet, because, you know, I felt like there was this little attempt. I mean, there wasn't a little attempt. There was an attempt for him to like try to amend the bond and just like, oh no, it's fine. We can be cool again. We can be cool. And his daughter's like, no, I don't like you. But then you slowly started growing where she's actually concerned about her dad. Like, I haven't talked to him. I haven't talked to Bobby. And she's like, you can see that she's actually concerned. So it's just like, with her jumping in front of the bullet would just show like, dang, bro, you really messed up as a dad. And then it could have been like that, like, hey, I'm nurturing her back to health. I would have just figured it out a different way, to where, like, I like the scene where they're like showing off. They're like in a show off or a standoff with Eddie Murphy and Kevin Bacon. But I would have just had it some scenario where, you know, the daughter's right there and then she takes the bullet instead of Eddie Murphy.
That's actually one of your best changes, man. Usually your changes kind of suck. So yeah. But all right, amazing. If you were the director or producer of this movie, what would you change or do differently?
I don't think I would change anything. I like flashback scenes, so maybe a couple flashbacks to previous movies with the friendship between him and Billy or something. But other than that, I don't think I have anything.
All right. You got like a blue light on your eyes, man.
Yeah, my glasses.
That's her screen.
Oh, okay.
If I take them off, I cannot see anything.
Okay, now keep them on. But you have me a little nervous. You're gonna people gonna be like, what is the jerk over there doing to her? Got me looking like Ike Turner out here.
That if I take them off, because it's annoying me too. I keep trying to change the light.
Hey, you better eat.
Nah, we just want to make sure you're safe over there. Thank you for. See, everybody, nothing. That's just a light. It ain't. No, I'm joking.
Eat the cake, anime.
Yeah. Where's my plate? All right, Wally. Said, I don't smell nothing in this kitchen. But,
Oh Lord, have mercy.
But Wally, what change? If you were the director or the producer of this movie, what would you change or do differently?
So, for me, I actually liked the part that Axel Foley actually took the shot, because at the end, because the only problem was with that role blending smoothly is, one, they didn't let her on the ambulance. I thought they was gonna let her on there. Two, at least brung in a scene where he's at the hospital and he's waking up and she's right there sleeping since then. And then they had that little conversation right then and there. She was worried after he woke up and everything. I at least had that type of scenery. They didn't have that. I wish they did implement that. That was one pretty good change that should have been added. And other than that, I was actually on the fence of if they would keep Bacon's character alive, because on one hand, if they kept it alive, then it's like, okay, does he has another play? Because then he could have just been the villain of the next movie. Or since they actually did keep him dead on this one, is like, well, does the next person that comes after this, is that Bacon's brother? Is that Bacon's character's brother or something like that? So, that's just something that, it's just up in the air, because it's like, okay, towards the end credit scenes, we find out that maybe, someone's looting, like in the back scenes, they get a call. They're like, such and such and such and such passed away. Like, by whom? And, something like that. And it's like, next thing you know, they give the name and everything, and they get the protocol. So yeah.
Okay.
And actually, just for one funny giggle, instead of actually him being with his old cop buddies, as far as like the two that were in the cop car when he got in there trying to I want to go get a steak, I would have hoped that it was be him and the other guy that was with his daughter. Like, they would actually go out and go get some crime or something like that. Like, they do that, which is showing, like, in the future of the next movie, like, they're gonna be partners. That's something I would actually like to see towards the end.
Okay. All right, Casey, Fred, what changes would you do, or would you just keep it the same?
I don't know. I got a mixed feelings. Like, I totally enjoyed the movie. So there's a part of me that says that I would keep it the same, because I don't know how you guys felt, but the whole time I started thinking about it, and I felt like Eddie Murphy in some ways was the black version of Bruce Willis in the Die Hard movies. So I kind of feel what Wally was talking about, where by killing off Kevin Bacon, just like in Die Hard, there was a brother that all of a sudden that came and now all of a sudden want to show revenge and be able to go there. And it's just like Die Hard, because one thing, Bruce would have to go from one spot to New York or what have you, just like Eddie went from Detroit to LA to take care of business. And so, and if you remember correctly, Bruce Willis had a kid, you know what I mean, that he had to look out.
That is literally the same.
So the same way here, you know what I'm saying, Axel Foley had to go ahead and look out for his kid as well. So there was a lot of similarities that I feel like they can to go into number 5. But for overall, I felt like it was awesome that they kept all the beloved characters still intact. Like, you didn't kill off Billy, which you could have, because he's 67 years old. You definitely could have killed off John Taggart. He's 76 years old. You know what I'm saying? And so we don't even know if any of these guys would be alive for number 5 anyway. You know what I mean?
Damn, Fred, getting dark on this one.
The next one, they could be gone by then.
Well, I mean, his old captain, who was Jeffrey, what's his name, Freeman or something like that, which
Yeah.
is Paul Reiser, like he's getting up in age as well. And so, I don't know if you guys know about this, but like just in real life, Bob Newhart, who is 96 years old, who had a famous show back in the 80s, he just died today. So, I mean, a lot of movie stars, you never know when they're going to pass or when they're going to take their last breath. So with all that being said, I liked it the way it was, but as far as changes, you could have went so many different directions with it. And then like I like what CLS, he's not on here right now, but I like what he said that even the mom, you could actually bring her in because she was in 3 in certain ways. I mean, they didn't say that was her, but you could literally easily tie her in as well, and then kind of make it like a family reunion or a 3-way between Axel getting his whole family back in 5, or they kidnapping, the mom and the daughter or something like that, and Axel's got to go back, which would be just like the Bruce Willis
Right.
movie in Die Hard and stuff. So, I mean, at the end of the day, there's so many different ways that you can go with this as far as change, but I have to admit the whole collective, like all 4, is a bundle where you could almost call the whole thing as a classic. I wouldn't say one individual movie was a classic, but if you put them all together, like they used to have that pack, you would literally go to Walmart or whatever place and get the whole series, kind of like Star Wars or something, because
I could agree with that.
that good. And so, other than that, I wouldn't change it, man. It was good. It was meant the way it was supposed to happen, and like I said, I totally enjoyed it. So that's why I gave it an 8.5. Which, yeah, I'm gonna leave that right there because that was really cool. It was right on the edge of classic, but not quite yet. But yeah,
Did a good job until you made that like Star Wars comparison. Star Wars that's 10, straight 10. But all right, if I was the director or producer for this movie, the change I would make on this one, actually, I'll make 2. So, like, with Kevin Bacon's character, what I would have done with this one was I would have made him like a regular detective in this one, not the bad guy in this film, where like he helped solve the case. Maybe there was like another person that got caught for, the corruption and all that type of stuff. And then in the next film, it'd be like, oh, okay, he was actually the ringleader, something, put that whole spin on it, like get one more movie out of him, put a different spin on there. And then at first I was also thinking like one of the changes I would have made, instead of him having a daughter, make him a son. But then that shit, I do like the character, that the relationship with the other cop. So yeah, that would have worked. Because I thought a son would have been more gung-ho and probably wouldn't have been carried on. But I think they're going to introduce like the girl's boyfriend as like kind of that role to take over. So yeah, that would have worked. So yeah, I would just keep the one change with Kevin Bacon, like made him help solve the crime with them. And then, in the next version, like he would have been the kingpin and stuff like that. So I would have liked that spin on it. But all right, the last part, now that we heard everybody's perspectives, would you change your score or keep it the same? So we just gonna work our way up. I'll kick it off. I'm definitely going up. I'm gonna go up to an 8. Just reminiscing about the other parts. I gotta go up. Definitely liked it. So, Casey, Fred, you gonna keep
8.5. Keep it exactly the same, man.
Okay, you're still in excellent territory though. I done bumped mine up. Wally.
Yeah, because thinking about the changes, I'm gonna put it at 8.5.
Okay, damn, Wally done went up too.
I told y'all gonna go up. I told y'all.
Yeah, I was just Manny genius.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay the same. I feel like my score was pretty high.
Yeah, you was up there. All right, the person that rated this the lowest.
Come on up, Amy.
Amazing. You going up, down, status?
I'm coming up. I'll go up to 7.5.
What did you have initially?
6.5.
She took a little bit of time off. She was a little rusty. No,
I forgot honestly because I watched this movie a while ago, so that's how I had forgot some of the scenes too.
no excuses. The always I forgot excuse.
No accountability.
Oh, there we go.
Boy, I tell you.
There we go.
But all right, we'll go ahead and start closing this one out. We'll go around real quick. Any closing words? We'll start with Amazing. Any parting words?
Watch the movie; it's good. That's all I got.
Okay. Manic Genius.
Great movie. Enjoyed it. This is one of the few series I would say from going back to one all the way down to this most recent movie. They didn't mess this one up. So this was, in my opinion, theater worthy.
Okay. Wally, my man with the Big E shirt on. Welcome back.
Yeah. Definitely theater worthy. Like if this was out right now, this was definitely worth you going to the theaters and just chilling out, watching the movie because it was worth it. But yeah, other than that, yeah, go watch the movie. It's a great one. It's a good one. Hopefully they do the next movie heavy justice from this one because this is good, and I think this will definitely go out with a banger. And other than that, hey, glad to be back.
All right. Casey Fred.
Yeah, definitely a good movie. This is one of those you want to definitely watch with your family and your friends. And if you can, watch it in order and you'll be able to listen to all the soundtracks and be able to see that they kept everything in a flow, in a line, and everything fits. Sometimes you feel like you can be off in certain other series, but this one, they kept you right in that same flow and you enjoy each and every one of them. And it's cool because you think about it, to realize you go back 40 years and you still got it, the juice, man, that's cool. So hat off to Eddie Murphy and his crew. Definitely noteworthy, and definitely you should go out there and check it out for sure.
Hey, man, I like that hoodie, man. I might need you to pick me one up.
Hey,
It is a fly hoodie.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
it's what the Chiefs are going to be, 3-peat, baby.
Oh, my gosh.
Mute yourself, sir.
Here we go.
Mute yourself.
How do we drop him?
Yeah. But my part of words, definitely check this out. Like everybody mentioned, man, great series. Shout out to Eddie Murphy, still looking young. It must be the young chicks. That must be the
Just got
secret.
married, man.
Yeah.
Huh?
You want like a 29, 30-year-old?
Hey, him and MJ, I'm trying to tell you.
That's the secret. Keeps you young.
That's a key secret. Amazing slack off. Shit.
Look at her, she's so serious.
Yeah. She over there looking like she doing her taxes.
So, yeah, just wait till this live ends.
But all right, then, like, thanks for tuning in. Keep sending us requests, and we'll keep putting them on the list. But all right, peace.
Peace.